Good morning, everybody. Let's walk through some of the highlights here of the near-term forecast by starting off looking back at precipitation ranks by climate district since the beginning of the new year. We have some holes that need filled in, and I do have some better news for the northern plains and upper Midwest as the jet stream starts to realign, sending a couple of clippers through this area. We're going to watch for some heavier rains to kind of fill in some of the holes here over in the Carolinas down into Georgia and Florida, and we did just see yesterday snow coming into parts of Texas. In fact, if you want to see that, take a look at the last 72 hours of total accumulated snowfall. After hammering into parts of Arizona, this system kind of rolled out into the front range here, adding a lot of snow, dropping some all the way far south into parts in Mexico and Texas. Now, this same system's not done yet. It's actually taken a much more southerly track and it's going to hit New England pretty hard. We'll take a look at those snowfall totals in a second. But on the wetter side of this past weekend's rainfall delivered well over 100 reports of severe weather coming out of Texas into Louisiana and Mississippi, and we're watching storms this morning rolling into parts of the southeast. Just here in the last couple of hours, lightning strikes have been as high as 50,000 strikes per every 2 hours. Currently sitting around 40,000 strikes. So the storms are diminishing a bit this morning, but still very active morning this morning here in parts of the southeast. Okay, what are we watching in terms of hazardous weather? We got winter weather advisories plus a winter storm warning out for parts of Missouri, Arkansas, and a corner of Oklahoma. And then you see the broad area of winter storm warnings that are here in parts of New England. Flood watches, tornado watch down farther to the south, and some pretty strong winds with this system as it rolls through. The Storm Prediction Center's got a pretty large area today. They're watching for severe weather. We'll take a close look at that in a moment on the high-res NAM. But I wanted to focus in on the snow a bit for New England. This is the chance over the next 3 days, with, again, most of the snow coming in tomorrow, coming into parts of New England. It's a very tricky forecast. The storm system's trended far to the south, which means it's not able to draw in as much warm air, pushing that rain snow line farther to the north. But there's your chance at 4 inches here. This is your chance at 8 inches. I mean, this is pretty high right in through this area. And here's the chance of getting over a foot. So this is potentially right in the interior here, a pretty sizable event in terms of total snow. Let's kind of get an idea of the timing of it by going to the high-res NAM. So as we play through the middle of the day today, watch the storms in the southeast, the heavy rains moving through parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, the heavy rains pushing over the Appalachian Mountains. Be aware of a changeover to snow on the backside of this in Kentucky and Tennessee. And then it'll be in the early morning hours tomorrow, which is well timed with the conversion over to snow, that we'll keep an eye right here on this line. As the day goes on, that line pushes farther and farther to the south, and by Tuesday by 9 a.m., we're looking at a pretty heavy snowfall event here hitting some of the bigger cities along the East Coast. Now, this storm system will be out by afternoon and evening, and we'll follow it with some lake effect snow. And then after that, a big omega pattern sets up into Alaska, helping to drive those little shore waves out of Montana into North and South Dakota, mainly South Dakota here, bringing in a good chance at some snow. But quickly, let's go have a look at the snowfall totals here. I want to show you what the National Weather Service put out on their Twitter account this morning for New York. Again, notice from Long Island, just inland here, we're going to go from 4 to 6 to 12 to 18. So some places here picking up a lot of snow. I'm tending to fall and rest here on the National Digital Forecast Database prediction for snowfall. So if you want to see what I think my opinion of it would be, I would rest on this. This is what I think is probably most accurate at this point for snow. Now from there, let's take a look at the bigger picture, because by Thursday, there's that omega look in the pattern. Now it's on a block because it's not staying here long enough, but this kicks off a series of shortwaves through the northern tier of the U.S. Once those sneak through and go over the Great Lakes, you'll see how much snow this one adds late in the week to this area here. This pattern takes a little bit of a different look. By this weekend, we're going to start the sequence of systems hitting the west, all associated with this broader trough. That's going to be there this weekend into early next week. But what I'm interested in is by the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th is this right here. That's the first time in a long time I've seen the polar jet beginning to show its head. And what that means is the end of the month of February, if it does in fact give us this look, this would set things up for the end of February and beginning of March to really kick off a lot of systems born on the polar jet stream. That's an exciting new look to the pattern. Now, before we get there, let's run through the models real quick. GFS left, European right. We've already seen system number 1. Watch the upper Midwest for a couple little clippers rolling through Thursday into Friday. Look at the one that's moving over the Great Lakes right there, Thursday into Friday. That one's going to put down some heavy snow. And then a lot of attention is going to go back to the west as the deeper trough shows up late this weekend and survives into early next week, kicking several systems into the western United States. In total, over the next 7 days, this is what the European model is putting down for precip, and this is what the GFS is putting down. So again, European versus the GFS. On snowfall, I just want to show you one of the bigger differences between the models is for this second system later this week that hits parts of the Great Lakes. It sneaks right in through here. That's the European solution. Notice how much more snow the GFS is putting down, all the way from Montana and Idaho clear into the Great Lakes. So a little bit of a difference there in the snowfall forecast. That's why we go over to the probabilities, and here's the best chance at grabbing 3 inches of snow over the next 10 days. Here's the chance of 6. So again, look at that. And then we'll step it up to 12, which is going to be a stripe right in through here, and then it'll be the western mountains that see the biggest amounts. All right, from there, this is what will happen by the end of this week into early next weekend. Subtropical jet still dominates. But beyond that, here's the change I'm getting kind of excited about. Where's the split by the 23rd between Alaska and Hawaii? And therefore, this polar branch of the jet stream makes a return. And we just need to see what that might do out there, because most of week 2 is dominated by the deeper trough that shows up by this weekend. It's in all 3 of the models. I think it's after that that the pattern really begins to change. So very quickly on the temperature side of this is what the month of February has delivered so far. But we do know there's much colder air coming in that's going to get all the way down to the south with the frost, including the Central Valley of California. So watch the highs play for you real quick. Notice the warmth that's around in the Midwest, but the cold air coming into Montana by Thursday into Friday and Saturday. Big area of high pressure drops in here, knocking these temperatures back. The models don't agree, though. Out day 5 through 10 and day 10 through 15, you can see where the GFS is anchoring its coldest air day 5 through 10 and 10 through 15. But the European model, that's day 5 through 10. Look at the difference here. And then day 10 through 15 is much more mild. Makes me wonder how March is going to start off with respect to severe weather. Now, I want to invite you to go watch the longer range video, or the longer duration video, because I cover more about the longer range, including the new March update from the European model. Plus, we look for analog support by all those previous El Nino events. I then stress in that video that in the analog package, we have 1988 and 2016, 2 wildly different years that both had El Ninos in winter that collapsed by summer and fall. So we do a quick analysis on that. We then move into a discussion about the ocean temperatures and their role, and we finish up a bit with South America, and that's where I want to go to next. We continue to see more heavy rains moving through Argentina toward Paraguay, also in the northeast. We're a bit drier in the center-west growing area, and as we encroach here on the Amazon, that's where I'm seeing some drier conditions. But the longer range forecast for South America, just be aware that after we get through March, which is what this shows, we're going to start to see some drier air moving its way in to the center-west areas, and that's a region I'm concerned about in April not having the moisture for grain fill. Wetter in Argentina, wetter in the northeast. And just watch this, because in 2016 it was also very wet in Argentina late in the season, and that actually caused some harvest delays. So something to consider there. Okay, that's it. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Thanks.